Hey, everybody. For those of you who do outdoor photo shoots during the year, it's now become winter. That can be a challenge to take photos outdoors, as I indicated last week, with the light bouncing off the snow and things, as well as the cold. But it's also a good opportunity if you'd like to do inside work. Think about pet photography. Now, I know there's also infant photography, very specialized, and can be a little difficult to do if you have any issues with little kids, or the fact that you might be sitting there for quite a while to get that shot. Pets a little bit better, not much in some cases, but can be a little bit easier to use. And most likely you're going to be inside taking those photographs. You might be doing photos of the animal bouncing around out in the snow, more likely a dog than a cat. But odds are, if you're going to go that route, you're probably going to be talking about something inside the house. When you're doing pet photography, the trick is getting the animal's attention, but not the full attention. And that is that they look at you, but they're not coming over to you, right? You get yourself in a fixed position and you want to take the photographs. May or may not work in this case. You're probably going to have to be more fluid with your subjects. And that means shooting from the hip, right? Like doing event photography. Trying to get a dog to look at you and not come running over to you, or a cat to pay attention to you, is an event in and of itself. But this is more in the lines of event photography. Doing infants is more in a portrait photography, because they're not going to run off on you. You're trying to get a little hand or a little foot or something like that. You can actually hold them or have the parent hold them while you take the photograph. But when you're doing a pet, that can be trickier. Especially if you're doing a family portrait with a pet, at least somebody there can hang on to the pet. I've done them with a pair of cats, with the couple holding the cats. So that made it very easy, right? Cats weren't going to run off anywhere. It's just a question of doing a tick, tick, tick or something to get the cat's attention, so they're looking at the camera while you take the picture. And when you're doing those, you can go back to using your tripod, right? You can set the stage. You can get everything where you want it to be. You can set up all your lighting, then have the people sit down and grab the animals, and you're good to go. A dog sitting on a couch, either laying down on their favorite people or sitting on the couch with everybody else, that can be staged a little bit easier. But if you're just getting the animal itself, right, nobody around, just the cat or the dog, that can be a little tricky. But again, it might be something that's easier for you to do if you have help. Now, it's quite possible to take something like a feathered cat toy. If you've ever seen those, they're basically a stick with a little string on it, a couple of feathers on the end to get the cat's attention. You could try to put that in line with your camera so that the cat is, while the feathers are out of frame, you can get the cat's attention, have the cat jumping at it or something like that. But then you run into a situation of, if they hit that or they get a hold of it because you're trying to take the picture and you're not paying attention, could they knock the camera out of your hand, right? So if you have another person who can stay directly behind you, for that matter, but can just dangle something up and down in front of the cat so the cat's jumping or the dog's paying attention to it, you can get that shot, because their eyes are going to be fixed more toward you. It makes it easier to get the shot. Again, like I said, this is a great winter time activity, because while it's really cold outside, you're going to be in somebody's house. You're not going to need a studio, right? You're going to be in their home taking the photographs. Caveats when you're taking pictures inside somebody's home, right? Number one, make sure that your tripod has good traction, but scratch-proofed feet. Right? You don't want to be scuffing up somebody's hardwood floor. And you don't want the tripod to get knocked or to slide on linoleum or marble or whatever the floor could be. Caveat 2, make sure that it can't get knocked over easily, right? Everything can get knocked over. But by having either a tripod that spreads out and down or having weights. Now, my original tripods were simple, cheapy little things that I got. The legs only went out so far. You know, they did that normal triangle that you're used to seeing with a tripod. Basically, they go out at an angle, and that's it. And they go down. And you've got multiple segments, so 3 to 5 segments that drop down to different heights and lock into place. My current tripod that I got, which was a much more expensive unit, actually allows the angle of those legs to be adjusted further out. So if you've seen a tripod, the inexpensive ones, they go out so far and that's it, they stop. The legs in the bottom lock, the little triangular piece, if they have it, locks into place, and that's as far as they go. Some of them don't have that. The legs just go out and stay. And this one actually allows you to move the legs out even further, which, while it lowers the platform closer to the ground, it also gives you that extra stability because the legs are further out, and it keeps the camera a little more stable, balances it out a little bit more. Even if you have both of those, the most important thing that you're going to want to have is insurance, just in case. Now, I'm a member of PPA, and we can get insurance from them at a discount or through them at a discount. And I recommend them as a way of getting good insurance, both on your equipment and on the area that you're in. So if you're shooting in somebody's house and somebody knocks your camera over and it takes out the lamp, your insurance can pay for both the lamp as well as whatever damage your camera got. Just like flying a drone, I think it's important to always carry good insurance, as good as you can afford, just to make sure that you're protected. Should something happen, you've got it covered. Because even if it isn't your fault, you're in somebody else's house, and there's certain things in the house that you're probably not going to be able to account for, like the fact that the dog gets up and runs by and hits your tripod. And if your tripod isn't quite anchored correctly or locked down with weights or whatever, everything could go down. Again, if you're shooting just the animal, you're probably going to want to use just handheld, because that'll allow you to move more. So as your assistant is dangling something around for the cat and the cat's jumping up after it, you can get different angles because you're now separated from the toy, right? But at the same time, you're not strapped to a tripod that's going to hold you in one place. Same with the dog. You get somebody to roll a ball and the dog comes running back with the ball in its mouth. You can get some action shots of the dog running back. Again, this is standard event photography. It's just you have a fast moving event as opposed to something like a wedding or a reenactment. Reenactments are close because depending on the reenactment happening, it could be fast moving. But you need to plan for the shoot. All right. So don't just assume that you're going to go to somebody's house and everything's going to be great. You're going to just walk in, take the pictures, and walk out. Walk in, scope out the place. Talk to them about where they want it to be, preferably in advance of the shoot. But if it's the day of the shoot, then take the extra time. Find out what they're looking for, where they want to do the photos, especially if it's going to be a group family photo or something like that. Scope out where you can put the tripod, where it's going to be out of the way, where you're going to put your lighting if you need it so that it's out of the way, and how you're going to arrange things in somebody else's home that's going to provide you with what you need, but also not damage or run the risk of damaging anything in the home. So it's a little bit more challenging, but again, it's a little too cold and a little too snowy to go outside for certain photo shoots. So this is an alternative to take care of that and to get some nice indoor photography. And if you're doing something like that and it's only going to be you're outside for a while and they've got a couple of kids that want to go have a snowball fight outside, find yourself a safe spot and you can get some good family photographs at the same time. So that's what I got for you guys this week. I will talk to you all next week.